this lesson, we're going to be learning how to solo over that chord progression. We've studied licks in G, C, and D, and now we're going to put those licks together and formulate an actual solo over this progression. I'm going to show you how all your hard work learning those licks is going to pay off. So, I have arranged a solo, and we're going to learn it. And all it is made up of is different licks from those lessons on licks in G, licks in C, and licks in D, put together, maybe modified a little, but mostly pretty much those licks exactly, just placed over the chord that they belong to. So when we're playing a G chord, we're going to play one of our G licks. When we're over the C chord, we're going to play one of our C licks. And when we're over the D chord, we're going to play one of our D licks. Okay, so the solo goes like this. Okay, that's the solo. I slowed it down. If you're playing this tempo, be something like that. So you can always work on speeding it up. It's hard to play this stuff fast, so you just got to take it slow. So, all right, first lick. We're going to start with a typical kind of G run. And that's straight out of one of them licks. Open E, 3, open A, 1, 2. Open D, 2, back to open D, end on the G note. Okay, and then we let that ring for 2 beats. On the next bar, we're going to start the same way. And then we're going to add. So, 3 on the D string, pull off to G, pull off to G, end on the D. So the first 2 licks. Okay, so that covers the first 2 bars over G. Now we're on the C. So over the C, we're going to play this. Okay, so we're going to start with an open G, hammer onto the 2nd fret G string. Then we're going to go 1st fret B, back to 2nd fret G, to 3rd fret B, back to 2nd fret G. That's the first part. Second part, another hammer on, 2nd fret G. Then open G, open D, open G, open D, 1, 2 on the D string. And that takes us to the 3rd of C. So all these notes are kind of in the C chord or the C country scale. So we go. Okay, now we're back to G chord. So on this, we're going to go. So 4 to 5 on the D string. slide, and then open G. So you do that twice. Then 3 on the G, pull off. Same thing on the D, and then you do the same thing on the 2nd fret. So it's kind of like a minor-y thing to a major-y thing. This would be pentatonic minor. This would be pentatonic major more, okay? So, and on the open G. So coming out of the C, okay, now we're on the D chord for a bar. That is going to be, whoop. That lick. So we're going to start with the open D, slide from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the A string, then open D again, hammer on 4 to 5, or sorry, 3 to 4, then open D again. So it's then we do a pull off, 3rd fret to 0 on the A string, then open E, 1, 2, open D. So okay, so the bar before was the G. And then the last lick is back to G. It's going to be a little descending run back to our root note. That's 3, 1, 3, 1. More of a pentatonic minor thing. This is major 3rd, sliding from the 3rd to the 4th. Open G. Then 3rd fret, D string, pull off to 0. The 3rd fret A string. And then 1, 2, land on the root note. And that's how it ends. Now when I play this solo, you can hear, even without the chord changes behind it, you can hear how the melody of the solo is, you can hear the chord changes within it. You can tell that the chord is changing even without the chords behind it, if you listen. And that's what you want a good solo to do, is kind of indicate what chord is underneath, what the chord is. Doesn't always have to, but it should. Okay, so that's one example, and you can do the same thing. You can arrange your own solo by taking all those licks that we learned and just putting them together over the appropriate chord and put them together and see how it sounds. Change them a little if you have to. It's no big deal. And one thing to remember too is if you ever get lost soloing over this kind of thing, you're always safe to just stay within the G stuff, like G pentatonic major. Will sound good, you know, won't sound bad. It'll sound good over any of these chords. That's something to keep in mind. It's kind of like your home base if you get lost. So now I'm going to play the progression, You can try this solo or any of the licks over it, or any solo that you want to come up with later. You can come back, and I'm going to play this progression slow so you can work on playing over it. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Okay, so there you have it. Try to have a jam track too so that you can play along. But if we haven't gotten to it yet, you can always practice over what I just played there. So that's our first kind of put together bluegrass solo using licks from G, C, and D.